Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are going to be talking about the scripted Stanley Cup Finals that just concluded last night, July 7th. I seen Zachary Hubbard. He made a good post on there, or a good video on this yesterday. I will link that in the description. And if you want to see my video on Tampa Bay's rigged Stanley Cup Final from last season, that will also be linked in the description. And I was wrong this year. First time in 5 years, I was wrong about the Stanley Cup. I thought they were going to give it to the Islanders. And I want to show you exactly what they did and how I got on the wrong side of the narrative this year. And it really just goes to show how perfectly scripted they have all of this and how every single number I talked about on my Patreon page is exactly what they did. I just got on the wrong side of the narrative this year. So we're going to start out with Game 7 between Tampa Bay and New York. And we're not going to start with Game 7 this year. We're going to start with Game 6 last year. Tampa Bay eliminated New York in overtime on September 17th. To advance to the Stanley Cup Final. Again, I got a video on this talking about why Tampa Bay would advance on this date. And the Tampa Bay Lightning eliminated the Islanders in Game 7 this year on June 25th. And that the Stanley Cup Final began on the 28th when we were thinking it was going to be on the 29th. And I saw it was on the 179th day of the year. And I'm like, man, I might be tripping on New York. And sure enough, Tampa Bay was in the Stanley Cup Final. Tampa Bay Lightning, when you run the alphabetic order, sums to 179. If you don't know what this is the language of Gematria, which comes from Kabbalah, which has the belief that God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. This is how the entire world of sports, news, government, weather, it's all scripted the same way. Now, as I had talked about, the Lightning won the Stanley Cup last year over the Dallas Stars, September 28th, 2020, and the Stanley Cup Finals began this season, June 28th, 2021, exactly 39 weeks later. And New York sums to 39. Everything New York's 39. And what I want you to see is the Islanders became 16, or the Lightning rather became 16-7 versus the Islanders this year in the playoffs. 167 is the 39th prime number. That should remind you of the New York Jets winning their only Super Bowl, Super Bowl III, where they beat the Baltimore Colts 16-7. And of course, the New York Jet players were at all the Islander playoff games this year. And we know the New York 39 list. We're going to touch on that in a second. But the thing is, they became 4-0 versus the Islanders in the playoffs. And Canadians sums to 173, the 40th prime number. They beat New York to advance to play Montreal. And Tom Brady, who has the 8/3 birthday when they eliminated New York, June 25th to his birthday was 39 days. And I was like, look at that, man. Just unbelievable. And the Lightning, again, they beat the Islanders by staying on 77 all-time playoff losses. New York Islanders is 77, and they won to advance to the Stanley Cup by getting their 103rd all-time playoff win, like how they won the Stanley Cup last year in the 103rd season of the NHL. And remember, the Dallas Stars made the Stanley Cup final last year by getting their 103rd all-time playoff win. And the Lightning, when they beat the Islanders last year, they did so on September 17th, the day leaving 105 days left in the year. And the Stars won 2 games in the finals to give them 105 all-time playoff wins. So again, all that's covered in the prior video. But the thing is, the Stanley Cup begins in the 179th day of the year. Tampa Bay Lightning 179. Last year, they advanced to the Stanley Cup on 17/9. Now look at this. They won Game 7 1-0 versus the Islanders, right? And number 37, Yanni Gord, scored the only goal of the game. And Stanley Cup sums to 37. And when I saw that, I was like, I don't think it's happening tonight, man. Stanley Cup's on the 179th day of the year. They just scored. Number 37 scored the first goal in the second period because I was in Brockway, Pennsylvania, covering the 6th annual Frank Verichetti All-Star Game. And I was busy that night, so I didn't watch the game. I don't like watching the games anyway because I don't like giving these people any amount of my time. But the thing was, Tampa Bay it kept New York on 37 playoff series wins all time. Stanley Cup's 37. And Tampa Bay advanced to the Stanley Cup for the 3rd time in 7 years. The reason I was on the Islanders this year is because everything New York sums to 39. I was like, okay, New York's 39, New York, comma, NY's 39, NY's 39, NYC's 39, MSG's 39, Freedom's 39, Empire's 39. The United Nations that's headquartered in New York is 39 floors tall. New York established in a date with 39 numerology. The first governor was George Clinton. George is 39. Clinton's 39. Every New York Super Bowl won, 4 by the Giants, 1 by the Jets, comes back to the number 39. And it was about Tampa Bay getting to 16-7 versus New York all time in the playoffs and advancing to the Stanley Cup 39 weeks after winning the Stanley Cup. So, again, I thought it was about New York getting their 39th playoff series win all time to win their first Stanley Cup in 39 years. That was the mistake I made. But Tampa Bay making their 3rd Stanley Cup in 7 years when Stanley Cup's 37 and number 37 scores the only goal. I mean, this is the biggest regret I had. I did not pay attention to the fact that Tampa could be in their 3rd Stanley Cup in 7 years. 37 is the 12th prime number. The first Stanley Cup the Lightning won was in their 12th season. So, again, that was a regret. And, I was so pissed off with myself after that because they put that stat. I saw that stat on Twitter before the game, and it was the first time I realized that. And I was just crushed. I was like, oh, my God, how did I miss that? And I remember driving home from Brockway, that day about an hour and a half away from where I live. And I just sat there and I was just so pissed off all night. You know what I mean? Just drove home, no music, no talking, no TV, no nothing. I was just so pissed off. And when I got home at midnight, I remember I just sat outside my car, and I just stared, at the woods for about 15 minutes because I was just like, I let a lot of people down after doing it for 4 years in a row. Maybe there's a first time for everything. And I was like, I should have seen that. And even on Patreon, I left an apology, about 10, 15 minutes long. The reason it was black was for that reason, because I had the camera on my face, but you couldn't see it because it was late at night. It was midnight. I'm East Coast time in the U.S. And I just looked at that and I thought, how did I not see that? I was so disappointed by that. But at the same time, told a lot of people on there, I said, you know what, just bet Tampa to win the Stanley Cup because they're absolutely going to win it again. And a lot of people made their money back. Some of them were still on Montreal, but I don't know why. But I want you to see how the shorthanded goal by Yanni Gord was scored with 1:02 left on the power play. And Montreal Canadiens sums to 102, so does National Hockey League. And I was like, yep. They couldn't have scripted it any better. And notice from Yanni Gord, from Game 7 to his birthday is 173 days, right? Canadiens, 173. So Tampa Bay wins their 2nd Stanley Cup, 2nd in a row. And they did so winning the Stanley Cup on 7/7. Remember, last year they won the Stanley Cup on a 77 date numerology. Number 77, Victor Hedman, won the MVP from from the end of the Stanley Cup to the date the Rays lost the World Series was 29 days. Then from that date to the Super Bowl was 103 days on 2/7 when 103 is the 27th prime. And the Lightning won the Stanley Cup in the 103rd season of the NHL. Then the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl on 2/7. When the first Stanley Cup the Buccaneers won was in their 27th season. That was Super Bowl 37, Stanley Cup 37. 37 is the 12th prime. The first Stanley Cup the Lightning won was in their 12th season. But there's a whole lot more to that. Again, it's in the prior video. But September 28th to July 7th was exactly 283 days. That's the 61st prime number. And Montreal got their 61st playoff series loss. Stanley Cup final is 61. And Stanley Cup Finals is also 283. I didn't even catch this till I made this post. And Montreal fell to 1-3 in playoff series against Tampa Bay. And remember, Tampa Bay Lightning and Stanley Cup Finals, as well as Buccaneers, is 91, the 13th triangular number. And last year, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup by getting their 91st all-time playoff win over the Dallas Stars. And Dallas is 13, and they were in Super Bowl 13. And remember, it was the 103rd season of the NHL, 27th prime. The last time the Stars and Lightning played prior to the Stanley Cup was the 27th day of the year. It was the Stars' 27th season since relocating from Minnesota. It was the Lightning's 27th season of play. Makes me wonder about the Rays when they get into their 27th season in Major League Baseball. But anyway, the last time these teams played on March 20th, 2020, and this is something that did piss me off about the NHL this year. Teams didn't play outside their own division, so it did make things a little tricky. But that is the number that connects to the Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup's 53. The date's 5/3, and the score ended 4-0, like Canadians is 173, the 40th prime. And look at this. Look at this. This is where it gets truly undeniable and mind-blowing. When the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl on February 7th, they did so by winning with a combined 40 points, right? And from February 7th to July 7th is 150 days. Now, in the Bible, the book of Genesis, water floods the earth for 150 days. And look at this. Look at this. Yesterday, rainfall from Hurricane Elsa hit Tampa Bay the exact day they won the Stanley Cup, 150 days after the Super Bowl, when the flood lasts for 150 days in the Bible. So it couldn't be any more perfect, but there's a lot more to this. Look at this. Ross Colton scored the only goal of this game. He scores the only goal of the game. Look at what his name sums to. 150 when you run the alphabetic order. I mean, truly, they could not have scripted this any better. They couldn't have scripted it any better. And he wears the number 79. Tampa Bay 79. 79 is the 22nd prime. Tampa Bay got their 22nd all-time playoff series win. They love that number. 22 is the master builder number in numerology. But Tampa Bay makes the Stanley Cup final for the third time in 7 years. Buccaneers 37, Stanley Cup 37, Elsa 37. Again, I mean, it is just, weather warfare by the numbers, man. They couldn't have done it any better. Tampa Bay wins the series 4-1. 100. Remember, Buccaneers is 179. Tampa Bay Lightning's 179. Tropical Storm's 179. 179 is the 41st prime. Tampa Bay won the Stanley Cup 4-1. And that should remind you, earlier in the year, they defeated the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1. Just like they did in the Stanley Cup when the Hurricanes hitting Tampa. I mean, it's just such a mockery. And again, Tampa Bay won their 52nd game of the year to win the Stanley Cup. Flood, hurricane, earth, all 52. And notice this right here. Last year, they told us who was going to win the Stanley Cup because of Tropical Storm Cristobal on 6/2. And Tampa Bay, again, we said that day, Tropical Storm Cristobal hit on 6/1 was when it first made rainfall. It became a national news story on 6/2, Stanley Cup Finals 61, Stanley Cup Finals 62. And we said, all right, Stanley Cup Finals 62, Hurricane Elsa 62, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 62, Buccaneers 62. Looks like the Lightning should get the win tonight, getting their 52nd win. And remember, in light of the 52 list, the military has admitted to being able to control the weather since 1952, such as flash flooding. And notice how the Montreal Canadiens got their 326th all-time playoff loss. That looks a lot like the date March 26th, 3/26. And from March 26th to July 7th is 104 days. And this is the 104th season of the NHL. So how perfect is that? And keep in mind, March 26th can also be written 26/3, like 263, the 56th prime number. And remember, the NHL had a 56-game season. Canadians sums to 56. So does Hurricane. And keep in mind that, I guess I didn't put it up here, but keep in mind that March 26th is the day leaving 280 days left in the year, and Tampa Bay Lightning sums to 280. Now, all year on Patreon, I talked about how they were syncing up the 9/11 rituals with the Stanley Cup this year. We saw it. Another reason why I thought they were putting New York there. Look at Ross Colton's birthday. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's just, that's what pisses me off about. Even when you're wrong, you're still right. Because it's like everything I talked about is exactly what they did. They did the 39 ritual. They did the 9/11 ritual. It was all there. The Stanley Cup 37 numbers. That's why I'm pretty sure I know what the Stanley Cup will be next season. I think that's a lot easier to call now that we know we're going to have, the divisions back to normal, the season back to normal. We ought to be rolling next year for sure. But this was still a kick in the teeth. I'm going to be bitter about this for a long time. Tampa 30, third cup in 7 years. I should have seen that coming. But look at how from his March 26th birthday to September 11th is 170 days. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is 170, right? How perfect is that? And I did put it up here. So March 26th, the day leaving 280 days left in the year, Tampa Bay Lightning 280. And keep in mind that the Lightning, this is another reason why I said on Patreon why it was a foregone conclusion the Lightning would win this season. I said they're going to get their 107th all-time playoff win. That's the 28th prime number. Montreal hasn't been in the Stanley Cup for 28 years. Montreal advanced to Game 7 or advanced to the Stanley Cup in Game 6 against Vegas, winning in overtime when overtime sums to 107. That game-winning goal was scored by number 62, Artturi Lehkonen. And, again, Montreal advanced to the Stanley Cup for the first time since 93, like how the Phoenix Suns are in the NBA Finals for the first time since 93. And the Lightning became 9-3 at home in the playoffs by winning the Stanley Cup over Montreal. Now, what people need to understand is that, as always, a man was murdered for the Stanley Cup, several men, but we're going to go over the two most obvious examples. I made a video about this earlier, and it got deleted by Google for hate speech the day after my first strike my first warning got off my channel, and now I got another warning. So I guess I got to be careful what I say in this video. But we had the death of Matisse Kivellinks of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He dropped dead on July 4th, and we heard about this news on July 5th, and I'm going to show you why. So notice how he died 53 days before his upcoming birthday. This man played for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Columbus Blue Jackets is 53. Stanley Cup is 53. And he also died a total span of 54 days before his birthday, and his name's 54, so is Jesuit order. The Jesuits are the ones that control the world of rigged sports, who control media, government, military. So his death was supposedly an accident that deals with fireworks. And notice Fireworks is 124. This happened in Nauvoo, Michigan, which is another 124. And notice he wears the number 80. His full name in the most pure cipher sums to 80. So does Tampa Bay Lightning. And notice how his name also sums to 136, like Conn Smythe, like Stanley Cup. And I said, because they murdered, in the first video I put out on this before it got deleted, I said that more than likely you're going to see, since they just murdered a goalie, you're going to see Andrei Vasilevsky win the Conn Smythe trophy, which is exactly what happened. And Conn Smythe 136, Stanley Cup 136, his name 136. Again, he had the right numbers. Think about the term you've heard many times in your life, your number's up. This is what they're talking about. All publications wanted you to know that he's 24 years old, right? Like how the Lightning are playing the team in the NHL with 24 Stanley Cups from Canada when Canada's 24. Now, the reason you're hearing about this news on July 5th was because his name sums to 269, which is the 57th prime, like how July 5th can be written 5/7. And 200, and again, 57, that's the championship number, right? Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, World Series, they're all 57. When you write out 57, it's 131, like Super Bowl, like championship. And we just talked about how they synced up Super Bowl 55 with the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup this year on a 55-date numerology, July 7th. Now, and just think about it. He dies on Independence Day, right? Independence Day 74, Holiday 74, Killing 74. The date can also be written 4/7, Tampa Bay 47, and the Blue Jackets wear red, white, and blue. I mean, what a joke, right? What a total joke. And of course, he died on the 173rd day of the NHL season. And again, Canadians 173. Now look at this. From his last birthday to the date the Lightning won the Cup, July 7th, is 316 days, like Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we just talked about how they tied this in with the Super Bowl. And, of course, the Super Bowl was won by the Buccaneers. Now, August 26th is the day leaving 127 days left in the year. And notice how the Lightning became 12-7 versus the Canadians in the Stanley Cup final, right? And July 4th, the date he died, is the 185th day of the year, and the Lightning won the Stanley Cup 3 days later in their 185th all-time playoff game. So again, RIP to this man, as well for all the people, all the haters, all the people that have left hate comments, even on my Patreon, the people that'll troll on this video. Understand, I'm not worried about you guys. I'm not worried about you guys at all. My resume speaks for itself in the past, Next year, we'll murder the Stanley Cup again. Already got a great idea what it's going to be. So I could care less. The fact that you have to leave hate comments to try to cut down other people to try to make yourself feel better just makes me feel bad for you. Your life must suck a lot worse than mine does. But we're also going to talk about Rene Robert, who played for the Buffalo Sabres. By the way, Buffalo Sabres is a team that sums to 127. He played on the French Connection line for the Sabres back in the 70s. And notice again, he died 173 days after his birthday, like how, again, Canadians is 173, and he died on June 22nd, the 173rd day of the season. So you got to ask yourself, what are the odds this man dies 6 days or a total span of 7 before the start of the Stanley Cup Finals, or should I say 5 days, a total span, or 6 days, a total span of 7, right? And he's a French Canadian known for playing on the French Connection line. And then we have a French Canadian team advanced to the Stanley Cup. What was it, a day later? 1 or 2 days later, Montreal beat Vegas in Game 6. I mean, again, he's dead at age 72, Jesuit Order 72. Notice French Connection has overlap with the Jesuit slogan, Jesus Humane Salvator. They're both 85 and 266, and notice Montreal was in their 85th playoff season. So again, RIP to Rene Robert, RIP to Matthias Kivelinks, and congrats Tampa Bay on another scripted Stanley Cup final. And, for all the trolls out there, again, I ain't worried about you guys. You know what I mean? Like I said, next year, we'll do it again, man. We'll nail it before the season begins. Like, again, I ain't worried about the trolls, man. I got all the confidence in the world. I'm not going to be, You guys don't faze me. But anyway, for all the people here that have stayed it this long, if you made it this far in the video, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you learned not to support these leagues. You understand how ritualistic they are. You understand what a mockery they are, how they inconvenience people. They murder their own players. There's no reason to support these leagues, guys. Maybe one day we can have a hockey league and all professional sports leagues that aren't rigged, and maybe we can see who the real athletes really are, who the best players really are. Guys, have a good rest of your day. Till next time.